All right, this is section 2.4, algebraic reasoning. This one should be kind of in your wheelhouse and a nice one to kind of take a break from all of the vocabulary. So let's talk about it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is addition property of equality. So this is basically saying that if we add something to one side, we have to add it to the other. Subtraction property of equality is the exact same thing, except if we subtract one thing from one side, we have to subtract that same thing from the other side. Multiplication property, again, if we multiply one side by something, we have to multiply it by the other. And you notice right here, we've got multiplying by c on both sides, minusing c, adding c. So it's kind of a pattern, if you know. Division property, same thing. If we divide one side by c, we have to divide the other side by c. One thing to note on the division property, though, is you cannot divide by 0. That's undefined, can't do that. Substitution property is saying, hey, if these two things are equal, then I can substitute either of those in for the other one and vice versa. So I can either plug A in for B or B in for A. Now, in all of these ones that I'm talking about, we can very easily substitute these in for numbers. So I can, if A equals 3, I can plug 3 in for A or A in for 3. Distribution property, again, if we have got a number on the outside, we can distribute it to the inside. It works the same way when they're subtracting on the inside. Reflexive property just says, hey, 3 is 3, A is A, B is B. Symmetric property is saying that we can flip where things are. If A equals B, then hey, B also equals A. Transitive property is a little bit different. Transitive property is saying, hey, if two things are equal to the same thing, so A is equal to B and C is equal to B, then we could say A is equal to C. So let me write that out a little bit better. So if we say A equals B and we say B equals C, then we can say A equals C. All right, let's get into some examples here. All right, so here is example 1. Now, this is what we call a 2-column proof, okay? One side is your statements, the other side is your reasons. Your statements is just solving it. Your reasons are why you can do that step. So, let's get into this first one. Now, anytime we're doing 2-column proofs, the first thing you're always going to do is what you're given. So, we are given 3x plus 2 equals 23 minus 4x. And that reason is given. Okay, I'm going to add 4x to both sides, so that gives me 7x plus 2 equals 23. And that was my addition property of equality. I always write POE for property of equality. If you would like to abbreviate in some other way, go for it. Okay, now I'm going to minus 2 to both sides, so that gives me 7x equals 21. And that would be my subtraction property of equality. Now I'm going to divide both sides by x, or by 7, so that gives me x equals 3. And that is my division property of equality. Now, some things where a lot of kids go wrong is they get to that last answer, and instead of thinking, how did I get to that answer, they just put given, or done, or solved. You have to tell me how you got to that last answer. It should always constantly be some property, okay? Let's go on to the next one. All right, so again, this first thing is going to be my given statement, so it's negative 5, 7w plus 8 equals 30. Okay, and my reason for that is given. They give it to me, so I must write it down. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that negative 5 and distribute it. So that gives me negative 35w minus 40 equals 30. And that was my distribution property of equality. Okay, next I'm going to add 40 to both sides. So that gives me negative 35w equals 70. And that was my addition property of equality because I added to both sides. Now I'm going to divide by negative 35w. Oops. So that gives me W equals -2. And that would be my division property of equality. Alrighty. That concludes this segment of notes. If you have any questions, let's ask them out. Email me, come see me in class. Go ahead and do the assignment listed above. Have a great day, guys.